back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news and update show. Quite a few things to mention in today's show. Chelsea's still interested in Garnacho, but they just don't seem to be moving. Are they waiting for Madueke to be sold? Romano keeps confirming at Manchester United they're still working on Mbeumo, they're still working on the deal. Cool. Everyone's telling us we're still working on the deal, but how long is it going to take? Because Manchester United have got a bit of a surprise payout coming in, receiving around £6 million through the Elanga Here We Go. Romano dropped the Here We Go for Elanga, which could help fund the extra money that Brentford want for Mbeumo. Are Newcastle helping us complete the deal? Our Newcastle wanted Mbeumo, giving us the money to help Man United complete the Mbeumo deal. Brentford's starting to get frustrated with how long it's taking. Brentford could lower the fee. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the latest on Mbeumo. Not too much time on Mbeumo. I want to talk about Victor Osimhen. I want to talk about links to Moise Kean. I want to talk about Garnacho, Rashford, Amorim, the Amazon deal. Moise Kean, good sources now linking us to him as well. The striker situation and everything. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your live Manchester United news show where we go through all the news and discuss it in around 30 to 40 minutes. So, yeah, let's dive into it. So, I'm sure you've seen the Fabrizio Romano Here We Go, but I will get up on my screen. In saying this Moise Kean stuff is fake, I don't believe in such nonsense. I don't believe we'll get Moise Kean, but we have been linked to him by a good source. I'm also going to mention I have a really fat cut on my tongue and it's so painful to talk. So if I talk like that, and I don't want to talk like that, it hurts to talk. So I do apologise if I am talking a bit weird today because it really hurts to talk. But yeah, let's dive into the news. Obviously, we've got the Here We Go. Boom, 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 from Fabrizio. Exclusive Anthony Elanga to Newcastle. Here we go. Deal in place. Club to club with Nottingham Forest. £55 million. Agreement also with player. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Newcastle have pretty much given United a surprise payout. We could be getting about 5-6 million from this, which is the difference between us and Brentford in the Mbeumo deal. Newcastle, of all people, could be helping us complete the Mbeumo deal, which is quite funny. But is it a little bit annoying how right now the money is coming in from players we sold for cheap in the past and their sell-on clauses? We're going to get 5-6 million for Alvaro. We're going to get 5-6 million for Elanga. We're potentially getting 2 million for Maxi Holiday. We are making money because we sell our players for so little. Because we sell our players for so little compared to other clubs, we put a little bit of a sell-on clause in there. And we're literally making money through selling our players for peanuts and then that player being sold for a lot more. Because we can't sell players unless we sell them for peanuts. And right now, it's quite funny how all our money is coming from players we've already sold. Like, imagine, we've got a big sell-on clause on Greenwood. I don't know if he's going anywhere this summer. That would probably be the most profitable one. But we could still be making 10 to 15 million from sell-on clauses this summer, which is crazy to think that we sold Alvaro and Elanga for 20 million combined. We sold Dean Henderson for 15 million and spent 15 million on Onana. We sold McTominay, Serie A Player of the Year, for 25 million, and Chelsea are going to get 25 million for Axel Disasi. It's crazy how bad we are at selling. It's crazy. But I mean, as Alex said here, relying on a few million from add-ons, how far we've fallen. It really is a reminder of just we have fallen. We are rough right now. Big up to Gaz with probably the funniest profile picture here. Who's got Jim Ratcliffe dressed up as a clown at his class. But appreciate that. But we have fallen a little bit. Our money is coming from Elanga, and now we're being linked to Jamie Vardy on a free, Dominic Calvert-Lewin on a free, and I tell you what, we're going to be linked to Callum Wilson on a free. Aubameyang's available on a free. We haven't been linked to him yet. I feel like we just keep getting linked to free agent dead strikers. I mean, it's just worrying. Hopefully some nonsense links, but worrying. Yeah, the players that we've been linked to lately, a lot of them are really worrying. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, and I'm stressing a little bit. I can't lie, but I'm trying to think. You know what? We're still early in July. business will be done. But the reason I'm stressing is because the importance it was for Amorim to have these players in for the pre-season tour, because Amorim needs all the help he can get to start the season on a positive. Because if Amorim doesn't hit the ground running, he's probably going to lose his job. And Ineos aren't giving Amorim what he needs to hit the ground running. And right now, look, Brentford, they would have accepted our bid if we were Manchester City. It's frustrating. If we were Manchester City, Brentford, without a doubt, would have accepted our bid. But they haven't, because it's Manchester United. Of course they want more money. But the frustration in that is like when Gittins is going for 55 million, when Elanga's going for 55 million, when Nona Madueke is for some reason being priced at 55 million, Brentford are going to be like, yeah, well, this is why we want 70 million for Mbeumo. And I feel like had we got Mbeumo done sooner, Brentford might have accepted 60, 65 million. But because the market is so dead right now, it's like our chances of getting good money just keep going down and down and down and down. Do you know what I mean? Oh, what's that? Wait a sec. No, that's fine. Yeah, sorry. I was just talking about that. I just feel like our chances of getting good money from... Sorry. I was reading something and I messed up. If we'd have made bids for Mbeumo, if we'd have made our third bid of 65 million for Mbeumo a month ago, something tells me it would have more likely been accepted. But because it's dragged on, and in this time that's dragged on, Gittins has gone for 55, Elanga's gone for 55, we're talking about Madueke going for 50 plus million, Brentford are going to be like, well, Mbeumo got 20 goals. Gittins got 1 goal the last 6 months. And Brentford are going to be saying, we want 70 million for Mbeumo. And we're at a point now where maybe just pay the 70 million for Mbeumo. Maybe just do it. Because the more and more it drags on, you know, it's ridiculous. I'm not sold on Amorim yet, but what was the point in bringing him in without backing? 100% agree. Alice, all these links are on purpose to rile up the fan base while also saying a Rasmus to Inter. Then we see Rasmus staying seem positive. Yeah, we get news coming out today that Rasmus Højlund doesn't want to leave. Anana doesn't want to leave, which is 2 players that we needed to replace. We've got 5 players that aren't coming back for pre-season training, but we can't sell any of them. And now Mbeumo's getting annoyed, and now Brentford are getting annoyed. This whole situation is infuriating. I mean, honestly, let's dive into it. Let's dive into the news and stories, because there's a lot to get into. So we got the Here We Go. Now, the Athletic are suggesting that we could be making 5 million from this, and the Athletic are very credible. Some of the sources have suggested we could be making 8 million from this. The sell-on clause is 15%, which is around 8 million, but I think the sell-on clause is 15% on any profit that was made. So I don't know the situation with the sell-on clause, but I'm just going to say 6 million, put it there in the middle. That's what we've made. If you count as pure profit, 6 million could allow you to spend £24 million. 6 million is the difference between us and Brentford's valuation in Mbeumo. Newcastle may have helped us do that deal. So let's talk about Mbeumo. Now, I'm fed up of talking about Mbeumo. I think we're all fed up and bored and annoyed of talking about Mbeumo, but we do have some significant updates. I said, no, it's not even significant. We just have some updates on Mbeumo. But updates that aren't the deal is close, a bid might go in. Something that's actually not been said to us for weeks on end. Like something different has come out on Mbeumo. That's the kind of update we've got on Mbeumo there. So in regards to what's been said on Mbeumo, Man United's immediate focus is on finalising a deal for Brentford forward Mbeumo, and they're hoping to get a breakthrough this week, after which Amorim is also targeting a striker and central midfielder. Now that is not new news. We've had about 7 or 8 different sources tell us this for weeks. We want a breakthrough for Mbeumo this week. We've said that for the last 3 weeks. We also want a striker and a central midfielder. We also want to sell players. We know that. But what have we got on Mbeumo that's a little bit different to what we've previously been told? Well, it's this report coming from The Standard. Bryan Mbeumo is growing increasingly frustrated as Manchester United weigh up a third bid for him. Brentford have also come frustrated with the slow progress of the deal. Brentford are frustrated, Mbeumo's frustrated, Man United have to be frustrated, their fan base is frustrated. I think Man United were hoping that if they didn't make a third bid 2 weeks after this second bid, that Brentford were just going to go, you know what, we're fed up, we're upset. Now the hope is that Brentford are getting so fed up with how slow this is moving that they might just go and accept the second bid. This is the hope. But Brentford, they know it's Man United, and they know we finished 15th, and they know we're desperate, and they know Amorim's desperate. So Brentford are like, we can get another 5 million out of this. They've just made another 5 million through the Elanga sale, so they can complete this deal now. They cannot see finances because they've just made that 5 million difference through the Elanga sale. So Brentford are standing firm on their feet. That's what they're doing. They're getting frustrated. Maybe they could lower the fee. Maybe the pure time that this is dragged on, and maybe Man United, by waiting 3 weeks after the second bid, could get Mbeumo for 5 million less. Is it worth it? I don't know. But Brentford are standing firm right now, and they're getting frustrated, and Mbeumo's getting frustrated. And what Man United really need, I think, is Mbeumo to push for the move. That's what I think we need. I think we need Mbeumo to go to Brentford, make his intentions clear, and potentially push for that move. I think that's personally what we need. I don't know if he will do that. I think he's a respectful guy, but he's going to come back for training next week. Could he push for that? You know? It's also a risk. It also risks Mbeumo considering other options, how long we're taking. Now, I'm not too worried about that because Chelsea have got Gittins, Newcastle have got Elanga, Tottenham are working on Kudus. I'm not too worried about it in that sense when you look at what everybody else is working on. Arsenal are working on Madueke and Gyökeres, and he said no to Arsenal, he said no to Tottenham who are working on Kudus, he said no to Newcastle working on Elanga. So I'm not super worried about other clubs, but I do think that Brentford just aren't going to budge. Because when you look at the market right now and what players are going for, and you look at the lack of alternatives with Semenyo signing a new deal and Kudus only wanting Tottenham, it puts us in a position where the best alternative for Mbeumo on the market is maybe Kudus, but he's made it clear he only wants Tottenham. So then we're looking at Semenyo that's just not going to be available. Dibbling that's just could be the next Todd Cantwell or could be the next Bukayo Saka, but you can't take a risk on him if you're Manchester United particularly. There's a lack of options in the market. And I think Brentford know that. They know that everybody's focused on something. They know that. They know that it's Manchester United. They know that we're desperate, and they know that the winger market is crazy, and they want 70 million for Mbeumo. And I don't think Brentford are going to budge. This person says that United want to pay Brentford in 5 instalments. Brentford want payment in 3 instalments. United tried saying with Wolves. I mean, that wouldn't shock me if that was one of the hold-ups. I feel like Brentford would accept maybe 65 million in 3 instalments, but 70 million in 5 instalments. Like, that's a lot how transfers work. Brentford will say, if you want to do it in 5 instalments, give us 70 million. If you want to do it in 3 instalments, we'll do it for 65. That could be the situation because we've given them 65 million pretty much, and that should be enough, and that was said to be enough, and now they want an extra 2-3 million quid. Is it because we're trying to do it over 5 years? Do they only want to do it over 3? I think there's a point there to be made as well. I don't think they're going to budge, I don't feel like Brentford are going to budge. Unless Mbeumo starts refusing to come back to training and Man United are saying we're not making another bid, and Mbeumo's like, I'm not coming back, accept the bid, and really put a crazy amount of pressure on Brentford, which I don't think he will because he's a lot more professional than other players. I think that's the only chance that maybe they would. People who are negotiating a Mbeumo deal, I don't think they know exactly where Manchester United finished last season. So embarrassing. That's the problem. If we finished first in the league last season, we're in a position where we'll say, oh, we don't need to spend 70 million on him. But because we finished 15th and only about 5 other teams scored less goals than us last season, actually, was it 3? Let me actually look at who scored less goals than Man United last season, because the relegated side's got less goals than us. Goals 4, okay? Man United managed 44 goals last season. 44. Only Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton and Everton got less goals than us in the league. Only 4 teams managed less goals than us in the Premier League last season. Everton got 42 goals. We got 44 goals. Leicester got 33 goals. Ipswich got 36 goals. And Southampton got 26 goals. The relegated sides and Everton were the only teams that got less goals than us. West Ham got more goals than us last season. Wolves got 12 more goals than us last season. Tottenham got 20 more goals than us last season, and they finished right down the bottom. You know, Brentford got 32 more goals than us last season. 22 more goals than us last season. You know, you look at our goals scored, we finished 15th. I think Brentford are mugging us off, and I think if we were Manchester City, they would have accepted the bid. And it annoys me, and I get, we don't want to be mugged off in the window. But when you finish 15th and only 4 teams managed less goals than you last season, we're not really in a position to say, oh, we can walk away. Because they know we can't walk away. Because they know that financially we're not in a position to walk away. So I think Brentford aren't going to lower this fee. And I think Man United are just going to have to, swallow their pride and just put a bigger bid in, because we finished 15th. We can't really play hardball. I think, Ginger's right. I think the selling tactic is just annoy the club. Our negotiation tactic is annoy the club, annoy the fan base, and hope the selling club gets fed up. And Brentford are fed up, and Mbeumo's fed up. But it's, yeah. I don't know. What is someone going on about there? I'm tired. So we've got the here we go. We've got the here we go for Elanga, and we're actually going to make a bit of money out of that. And Brentford will look at that and go, well, you're going to make 6+ million out of Elanga, here we go. We've got the here we go. We've got the Romano, here we go for that. So I look at it and I think, well, Brentford are going to see the here we go. They're going to see we make a bit of money out of that. They're going to see the difference is about 5 million and we've just made 5 million off Elanga. And they're going to say, bish, bash, bosh, you've got the extra 5 million, go make your bid. I don't think Brentford are going to change their fee. I don't think they're going to change the fee. Big up everybody in the chat. Big up everybody watching. Some really good people and comments in the chat today. What do you think of Douglas Luiz? I'm not against it, but it's someone. Douglas Luiz is a January kind of signing. If we'd have got him in January, it would have made sense. He's a panic buy at the end of the window, a January type signing. I think there's better options on the market. There's better use of spending our money, but I'm not against it because I think he would probably improve our current options, but he wouldn't be in my top 5 options. And Mbeumo will get pissed off and go to Spurs. He won't. Spurs about to get Kudus. They can't afford both. And he made it clear to us. The reason Spurs are working on Kudus is Mbeumo, to be fair to him, he did make it quite clear to Spurs that he wanted Man United and Man United only. So I'm actually not too worried about Mbeumo to Spurs, believe it or not. But it is frustrating. Alice, do you think we'll win the league anytime soon? No. But look, if we finish third, let's say this time next year we're off the back of finishing third, then I would say yeah. But I want to see what happens this summer and where we are this time next year. I mean, surely this time next year we can't be in a worse position. Surely, like even if we finish 12th next season, it's a lot better than finishing 15th. It's an improvement. Not that it's good enough. There's links of João Paulinho to Man United, but nothing super credible on that. Apparently Brentford would be willing to accept 65 million, not 70. Did we offer them 65 million or was it 63 million we offered them? I can't remember. It's been so long since this second bid, I actually can't remember what the bid is. There is links coming out that Manchester United have identified Mile Sevilla, I don't know how to say his name, as a goalkeeper option. He's at AS Roma. I don't think anything in regards to goalkeepers to Man United is relevant until we sell one. If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think anything's relevant until we sell a goalkeeper. If I was going to give you an honest opinion. Do you think Xerxes will be good next season? I like Xerxes. I think he showed good signs. I think he showed signs of improvement. But to be honest, it's a risk to rely on Xerxes next season. I like Xerxes. We saw good signs. We saw good signs of this. We saw good signs of that. But it's a risk to rely on him. It's a risk to rely on him next season. Anyway, let's continue into some more news and more stories. So, Mbeumo seems to be getting frustrated. So, Watkins. What is the latest on Ollie Watkins to Manchester United? There is a possibility Manchester United will go for Ollie Watkins, while an inquiry has also been made for Hugo Ekitike. Now, I'm going to be honest and I'm going to be real with you in regards to strikers and everything going on at Manchester United. We will not sign a striker for another few weeks if we're going to sign a striker. I think we will sign a striker this summer, but the striker we sign, there's a strong probability the striker we sign could be underwhelming. Like, let's not deny the fact that we're linked to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We're probably going to get linked to Callum Wilson and Jamie Vardy in the next few weeks. Not that I think we're in for them, but Man United want a striker. We know that we want a striker signing, but after Mbeumo, we cannot bring in a striker until we sold some players. We like Watkins, we like Ekitike, but until we sell some players, this news is pretty useless. It is, we liked Delap, we could have afforded Delap. We liked Gyökeres, and I think we would have prioritised him over other targets had he wanted us. The first 2 choice targets are gone. We like Ekitike, a deal can be done in instalments. There's a feeling Frankfurt will lower the fee, but it's still way out of budget. We like Ollie Watkins. If we can get him for 50 million, I think United are happy with that. But now Villa wants 60 million. The possibility of us signing a striker, I think, depend on two things. I think we will sign a striker. And I think we will sign a striker this window. I think signing Mbeumo and Cunha makes this need for a striker a bit less. But it's the type of striker we sign. And I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin's going to go to Newcastle to replace Callum Wilson. But we're either going to bring in a pretty crap, and maybe not crap, but someone in the 25 million or less range. We're either going to bring in a striker in the 25 million or less range because we don't sell, or we're going to sell, and I think we will go for Ollie Watkins. I think we will go for Ollie Watkins if we make significant money in sales. Now, interestingly, Chelsea like Garnacho, we know that. Chelsea and Garnacho, there's been links since January. Those links have not stopped. He's still on Chelsea's list. But Villa like Garnacho. Now, I think Garnacho would choose Chelsea over Villa, but I do think Villa really suits Garnacho, particularly his ability to play left wing, right wing. And I do think with, Villa and PSR issues and United needing money, I wouldn't be shocked if they sold us Watkins for 50 million or 45 plus 5, and we sold them Garnacho for 60 million. It wasn't a swap deal, but it was a sale for a sale, like Villa did with Chelsea last year. I think one of the ways that we get a striker over the line is Garnacho. I think Garnacho is the key to what we do this summer. Garnacho is gone. Garnacho is not welcome back. We know that. Amorim's made that clear. I think what happens beyond Mbeumo, because I'm confident we will sign Mbeumo, I just don't know when, but I think what happens beyond signing Mbeumo is very dependent on what happens with Garnacho. Very dependent on what happens with Garnacho. Could he be involved in a swap deal? Could he be sold? Well, Chelsea's going for him. Chelsea looks set to sign sell Madueke. I surely think if Chelsea sell Madueke, they'll go for Garnacho, right? They'll go for Garnacho, right? Someone said no sound, but I'm assuming you're trolling because you're the only person saying no sound. I kind of want Arsenal to sign Madueke because I think it could open the door for Garnacho to Chelsea. Because if Chelsea, and also, we're asking for 60 to 70 million for Alejandro Garnacho. If Chelsea spent 55 million on Jamie Gittins, yeah, who scored 1 goal in 6 months, that's had 1 half good season and no Premier League experience, and has been in a very stable Dortmund environment. I know Garnacho had attitude issues. I know the fallout with Amorim has lowered Garnacho's price. But United can go to Chelsea and demand 60 million plus from Chelsea for Garnacho purely off the basis that he's better than Gittins. He's Premier League proven. Look at McTominay, look at Man United, look at how the players do when they leave Manchester United. I think we're in a position where if Garnacho had not had a public fallout of Amorim, we could get 70 million in this market. Garnacho going for 70 million seems crazy. But João Pedro 60 million, Gittins 55 million, Elanga 55 million. I think if it wasn't for the fallout with Amorim and Garnacho being so public, if Madueke is 55 million and Gittins is 55 million, Man United can say to Chelsea, we want 70 million. We won't get 70 million because Chelsea will know our desperation to sell. But I think we're in a position where if Chelsea do sell Madueke and do go in for Garnacho, which is a possibility that is quite likely, we could get 60 million out of Chelsea for Garnacho. And if we do get 60 million out of Chelsea for Garnacho, our whole window opens up. We can afford a striker, we can afford a midfielder, our whole window opens up. So we got to fingers crossed that happens, because Garnacho being sold is our window saviour. And if we get to the end of August and Garnacho's still here, I guarantee you we haven't done much business. If Anthony, Rashford and Sancho go and we get permanent deals for all of them, potentially we can do a bit of business with Garnacho still being here. But our window is dependent on Garnacho, Anthony, Sancho and Rashford and their sales, particularly Garnacho because of the pure profit. That's what's going to make the big difference. Chelsea have Tyreek George, but he's nowhere near as experienced as a Garnacho. Do you know what I mean? Like, Tyreek George is a good talent, but yeah. Alistair, all quality players, Garnacho isn't all that. I don't think Garnacho is a 70 million player, but you can't look at the market and say, if Eddie Nketiah is going for, over 30 million quid, at 6 years of age, if Madueke is 55 million quid, if Gittins with 1 goal in 6 months and can't even get in the Dortmund starting 11, which is a much more stable environment and a much easier league, is 55 million, then I'm not saying that Garnacho is worth 70 million, but I'm saying if you look at the market, we could get good money for Garnacho. He could be a very good player. He's frustrating, he's got attitude issues, he's got the ego of Ronaldo, and he's nowhere near Ronaldo's ability-wise. But yeah. Elanga, 55 million, 17 career goals. You've got to look at it. I'm not saying that Garnacho is the best young player in the world, but only Desiree Doué and Yamal, aged 21 or under, got more goal contributions than Garnacho last season. And then the season before, Garnacho was second for goal contributions for under 21s or under 20s. So that's what I just say. Look, Elanga's 4 years older than Garnacho as well, or 3 years older than Garnacho as well. So you've got to remember age as well. So I want to talk about some other news on the strikers, but obviously I just think a lot of what we do depends on sales. United have been keeping tabs on Moise Kean, who has had €52 million release clause, which I think is about £44 million, that can be triggered until July 15th. Well, we've got a week to trigger this, and we're making no progress on sales as of today, so I don't think we've got the money to do this, and I don't think we will trigger this, but United are the Premier League club that's shown the most interest. Now, this has come from a good source of information. A tier 1 source of information has confirmed interest in Moise Kean. Italian sources said for months we have interest in Moise Kean. I don't want Moise Kean. I don't think we need we need a striker. I don't want Moise Kean. I don't think we will get Moise Kean. But when the Athletic have linked us to Moise Kean, we can't disregard it. We can't disregard it. Yeah. We can't disregard it. Bear with me a sec. So maybe there's something there, but I don't want Moise Kean. I think he got 17 goals last season, but I don't think... I feel like he's one of those guys, like an Anthony, who will do really well in Serie A, but will never do it in the Prem. Colomboani on loan. I think Juventus are trying to make that permanent. Goncalo Ramos on loan. Goncalo Ramos on loan really would not shock me. It really would not shock me if we went for him on loan. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Yeah. So the Man United players are back in training. There's no Rashford, there's no Garnacho, there's no Malacia, there's no Anthony, there's no Sancho. Amorim does not want them back. Is it the right or wrong approach from Amorim? Because I think it's the right approach in terms of being brutal, but is it going to help us sell them? That's my question. We're in a position, and I want to read out the news, but we're in a position where we're not letting 5 players come back to training, which is brutal. It shows them to get stuffed, you know. But at the same time, this isn't going to help us sell them. This is what I mean. So, Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, Sancho, Anthony and Tyrone Malacia were not present, having been told to stay away from the training ground by Amorim as they explore potential moves away this summer. What do you think of this? Because there's a part of me that thinks, well, this is what we need to do. We need to be brutal. We need to tell players to adios when they need to adios. We need to tell players to F off when they need to F off. We need to be brutal. We want Manchester United to be brutal. We want this clear out to happen. But at the same time, there is a part of me that thinks, well, this isn't a good negotiating wise. Because if Chelsea want Garnacho, and we can say you spent 55 million on Gittin, so we want 65 million for Garnacho, Chelsea will say, well, you're not welcoming him back to training, so you don't want him. So Chelsea will realise we're in a weak position and we can't get a lot of money for Garnacho. This is why I'm mixed, because I think this is the right thing to do, and I think what Amorim's done is the right thing to do. But then when we're struggling to sell, do we just have to suck it up and pretend we want these players and they're part of the plans? Which isn't fair on Amorim, but it would improve our chances of selling them. Do you know what I mean? It's not fair on Amorim to expect him to take these players back and take these players on tour because they're not wanted, they're not in the plans. But when it's so public that they're not wanted, they're not in the plans, other teams know that. And that's why Betis is still trying to get Anthony on loan. That's the frustrating thing. It's not the right thing to do. Other proper clubs do not make things so public. The thing that annoys me is how public this is. If Man United had done this, but it was a private thing and nobody knew about it, it'd probably been the right thing to do. But the Garnacho fallout is so public, the Rashford fallout is so public, the Sancho fallout is so public. Everything about our club is so public. And I was ranting the other day because I said Chelsea seem to get so much money for their deadwood players. Chelsea managed to get a lot of money for their deadwood players. And it annoys me. I'm jealous. And I think what it is that there was many reasons for it, but I'm going to share this tweet. So this was me tweeting the other day, actually yesterday, about Chelsea and how they seem to get good money for their deadwood players. You know, they're going to get 25 million for Tassasi. You know, we couldn't get 25 million for McTominay, Serie A Player of the Year. And Terry said things like consistency and approach over the years. The worst thing we can do is yield early and sell players. Someone said because they want lower prices, but they're literally asking for 50 million for Madueke. But someone put a really good comment in there, and it wasn't about salary, because, it wasn't just about salary, but they don't come out and condemn them publicly. And I think that's a point. And I think this is a good point as well. It's packaging. Coaches say the right thing and boom, you create the demand. I think one of the reasons Chelsea can sell their players a lot better than us is they don't condemn them publicly, and it's packaging. And I think they were good points and good responses. And I think that's something we need to improve at. Don't make everything so public. Praise our players. Almost even act if our players are better than they are. The best thing we can do, and you won't like this, is the club coming out acting like they think Højlund's amazing, and the club coming out acting like they think Garnacho's amazing. Because you might read that and think this club don't know what they're doing if they think Højlund's amazing and Højlund's the answer and Højlund's the future. But it's not about that. If Man United come out and say Højlund's amazing, I know the people at Man United, and look, they're pretty stupid, but none of the people at Man United aren't stupid enough to think Højlund's the guy that can lead the line for us next season. I know that. But Man United start putting out reports that Højlund's amazing, Garnacho's amazing, they're happy with them. We might read that and go, this is a disgrace, blah, 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 blah. But it's actually a look for other clubs. It's a look for other clubs. It's not necessarily what Man United think. Sometimes Man United need to hold their thoughts in private and put out what they want the world to know in public. Because that's how other clubs operate. Those players Chelsea inside internally don't rate, but people externally will think they do rate them because of the PR around it. For me, I think we need to be a lot more private, and the club need to hype their players more and act like they think our players are really good. Even if they're not, and we know they're not, it's a little bit of perspective. We need the right people to do the right moves. It's a bit of perspective. I want to continue into a few other bits and bobs and a few other bits of information. But Garnacho has consistently been on Chelsea's list since January, according to the Athletics Want to Watch transfer list. And Laurie Whitwell did say we want 70 million for Garnacho. We will not get 70 million for Garnacho. But if we do get 70 million for Garnacho, we are in a much better position. Hi Alice, when is the Mbeumo deal getting done? Honestly, I can't tell you that. We've got the extra 5-6 million coming in for Elanga. So that payout that's come from Newcastle should help us complete Mbeumo. Should help us complete the Mbeumo deal. We've got the here we go for Elanga to Newcastle. We're going to get 5-6 million from that. That 5-6 million will be the difference. It should help us complete the Mbeumo deal if there's a financial issue. But we don't know. And people have been getting annoyed at me. But don't shoot the messenger. People have been saying, Alice, you lied. Mbeumo's not in the door. You lied, Alice. Can I just remind people, I'm not a journalist. I'm not the one telling you that Mbeumo deal was done, here we go, agreed for 3 weeks straight. I'm telling you what journalists say. Don't shoot the messenger. I've been telling you for the last 4 weeks what journalists have said, and Ben Jacobs has been pretty spot on this summer, and his credibility's been pretty good, and he said 2 weeks ago that the Mbeumo medical could be next week. So we got excited, and I reported that a good source had said there could be an Mbeumo medical last week, blah, blah, blah. And people have been having a go at me. Alice, where's the Mbeumo medical? You said Mbeumo was going to have a medical last week. I want to just remind people, I never said Mbeumo was done. I never said the Mbeumo medical was next week. I've never said to you guys 4 weeks ago Mbeumo deal was close. I never said that. I get my information and I put it on screen and I tell you who said that. And I say this person, this person, this person said this. This person's credible, so I think that this could happen. But I don't know that. I'm not a journalist. So when people are getting annoyed at me like, you lied and Mbeumo didn't have his medical last week, I never said that. I read out what other people said and I believed that person because I thought he was a good source of information. So don't shoot the messenger. When you're frustrated, I'm not the one saying Mbeumo's done. I'm not the one lying to you. I'm the one just telling you what the journalists are saying, and I'm telling you if I think the journalists are credible or not. And some credible journalists got it very wrong on Mbeumo. Got it very, very wrong on Mbeumo. So yeah, I'm an aggregator, not a journalist, but I've been accused of being a liar, and it's like I don't report the news. Every now and then I do report an exclusive, like twice a year. But that is it. That is it. But I feel like people forget sometimes that I'm not the one reporting it. I'm the one that's just saying what's being reported. And sometimes I will read something that's been reported. Like yesterday, the Javi Guerrero stuff. I'll read that out and I'll say, this is being reported as close. And I'll say, and I'll give context. Javi Guerrero to Man United was reported as close yesterday. In that video, I read out the report that Javi Guerrero to Man United was close, but I also said he's in talks with AC Milan. He wants a better deal at Valencia. there's a strong possibility, because Man United want a midfielder and we've been linked to in the past, we could be getting used to get him a better move. And I think I want Javi Guerrero. I want to believe that we're close to signing him. But if Romano and Ornstein haven't said anything by now, we're probably not that close to signing him, because when do Man United go and do a smart deal out of nowhere? And they gave the context yesterday. A deal was reported as close. Okay, well, we'll report on this. But this source said Kim and Jay was close. We didn't sign Kim and Jay. As I said, this team's in for him, that team's in for him. He's probably using it out for a new deal, but I like the player. I want it to be true. I try and provide context to all the news that's come out. In terms of other stories, apparently we almost had a £10 million deal with Amazon, but Amorim opposed to it, so that's 10 million down the drain. I would have quite liked to have seen that. And Romano said that we did like Victor Osimhen, but he was never willing to lower his wages, which meant that Victor Osimhen to Man United never became a serious possibility. Do you know what I mean? So that's come out on there. We have had good sources link us to the Botafogo keeper. I don't think anything's going to happen until Bayendier is sold. I think Bayendier will leave. I think Bayendier will be sold for about 4 or 5 million quid. But until Bayendier goes, and until Bayendier is out the door, I don't think that we will sign a goalkeeper until one of the goalkeepers leave. And Arne Bayendier, until one of them goes, I don't think we'll sign a keeper. Guys, let's go over and raid Never a Foul. Go over and raid Kaz. Go over and raid Never a Foul. I will be back about 5:30. Thank you for watching. Bye.